This is going to be a video I intended to be a live stream on Wednesday night, but I've had trouble hooking up my live stream OBS software, so I just gave up and decided to do a long-ish content video or format video for my subscribers or for anybody who's interested. I'm going to be looking at two Ravens formations. This may be a somewhat incomplete video. I don't think I'm going to go over every play, but I'm going to talk about tendencies. I am going to consistently refer back to the database that I've been creating. I mean, yes, that's a part of my Patreon, but I have to. I feel like preface whenever I make statements about it, just so people understand who maybe aren't real new, who maybe are new to the channel, that I actually am keeping the database and finding the data that I'm showing and displaying on screen while I talk about the plays and talk about some of the implications of it. You know, the implications of the tendencies related to the Ravens offense I think are immense. If you look at the devolvement of the offense, the decreased efficiency of the offense as the season went on, clearly it's linked to Lamar being injured and unavailable in a lot of cases. Also, there's an element to it that is predictability as the season goes on. And this picture of Tyler Huntley doesn't really necessarily mean anything. I was just looking for a random Ravens player to use, prior to showing the data. I'm going to talk about two formations that the Ravens utilize often. And the first one, I'm just using this. I'm just using my Teespring information up top there as kind of like a placeholder. I'm going to talk about two formations: it's bunch and twin slot. And the first one I'm going to talk about, you guys can see the data here at the bottom of the screen. If you want to ignore the stuff that's up top, that's fine. I got to find a more professional and smoother way of blocking a portion of the screen for various reasons. But in any case, you see right here, you've got, bunch right in all of these, okay? There's 15 plays out of bunch that I'm going to show you, and I think 11 of them are pass, and 4 of them are run. Now, that's not the whole data. I'm going to read out the data that I have compiled in the database right now, speculate on some of the implications of it, and then just start to show you some of the plays, okay? So I got, right now in the database, I got 532 plays labeled, completely labeled, down, distance, personnel, formation, strength, backfield, play type, run pass, concept, direction, gain, etc. 532 plays labeled. That's a pretty big number. Someone can go check on this or fact check me or whatever. I haven't gone and looked it up. I believe that each season teams run between like 1,100 and 1,300 plays overall. If you're talking about a 16-game season, generally talking about 60 to 70 plays ish, somewhere in there, maybe a little less. So I might be off on my estimate there, 1,100 to 1,300 plays. It might be more. It might be 1,400 or so, especially in a 17-game season. But I got 532 plays completely labeled, 70 of which are bunch. So 70 of which are bunch. Now, I'm only going to show you bunch right tonight in this video. All right, so 70 of them are bunch. Out of that 70, you've got 51 pass and 19 run. So pretty heavily weighted toward the pass. And another, element to mention for that is you got strong right on the 4 run plays here. Obviously, everyone in here is bunch right, so I'm calling the strength to the bunch. And then the direction, is 2 to the right, to the strong side, and then 2 to the left, the weak side. So at least there is some run plays back to that weak side away from the bunch. But in any case, 73% pass and 27% run out of the bunch. And you can see from the data here that, we got different personnel groupings utilized, throughout this data set. It's not all 11 personnel, which is typically a bunch, personnel grouping. But one thing to mention for the 4 run plays, it's 11 personnel is not in there. 11 personnel bunch, right? No run plays. Now, we're only talking about a small sample size. I filtered it down from 70 plays out of the bunch to these 15. I figured people, if you're still listening, which you might not be, people might have left already because I'm not showing any plays. But look, there's out of 11 personnel is only pass. You can't tell me that teams don't know that. For whatever reason, I didn't put in the personnel for these last 2 plays. But you see all the data that's here. I tried to put plays where there was, a lot of yards gained. Let's get to some of the plays out of bunch. and this may turn into 2 videos, to be honest with you, depending on, you know, how well I think it's flowing. I wish that I was able to live stream this. That was the original intention, but my OBS software is not complying tonight. So in any case, let's get to some bunch plays, and the data is going to be displayed at the top. As you know, if you've been watching these videos, I got data. All the data is up there. You got stretch play to the right. I think Devin Duvernay does a nice job helping out the right tackle, Tyree Phillips here. He chips this D in, and then Phillips is able to take him over. We probably didn't do this enough. Try to get to the outside. One element or part of our stretch game, you'll see from the end zone angle of this play, is Patrick Ricard, or in some cases Mark Andrews, blocking back, blocking back on a backside 3 technique, or in this case maybe D end. We probably didn't run to the bunch enough, but keep him to the bunch side instead of running him opposite. I think there's something to be said sometimes for out formation in people. Line up 3 people to one side and run to that side. This is going to be a counter play. I think it's F counter. So Ricard, I believe, is going to pull. I'm sorry, I'm wrong. We're running a bubble screen up here. We're running a bubble screen up here with these 2. Marquise Brown is running the bubble, trying to draw defenders, and at the same time, we're pulling here and here on the counter play to the tailback. It's a great play to run to the backside with that bubble concept. Try to pull defenders. Don't get a ton of yards out of it. You see from the end zone angle, I think this guy chases it down from the backside. This D end here. We miss on the back block by the center. You guys, let me know what you think of these types of videos. I've said that before. I appreciate feedback, even if it's rough, even if it's telling me, hey, we don't like the formation stuff. I like to get into formations because you can see one thing the Ravens were trying to do is they were trying to be in the same formations but at a different personnel groupings. You saw that from when I showed you guys the data and scrolled up and down, and I pointed out the personnel groupings. But the personnel groupings and the formation kind of gives away your intentions. Skeptic Goat has mentioned that a couple of times, in live streams, or I heard him one time on a space on Twitter saying that, and I totally agree. Sometimes you give away your intentions, with the personnel and then the formation. Power play back here to this backside. So this is bunch with Ricard. Also, Ricard being on the field kind of gives away our intentions. It's power play. And we just don't get enough push or kick with Ricard. I mean, as much as I am a fan of Ricard, and multiple people have said the same thing to me recently, there was times where we just not getting a good enough block. I mean, there's a block here to be made. Yeah, this guy's is able to come in from the outside angle. This guy's the alley player inside. This should be blocked up. This guy should be blocked up. We should be able to handle this. Those are one-on-one matchups that you want them guys to win, and Ricard does a shitty job. Just point blank, period. Ricard does not do a good job on that play. So there is something to be said for you've got to execute the block. You're there to execute the block, and you missed it. That's what you're paid to do. All right, the rest of these are going to be pass plays out of the bunch. Over concept to Andrews. Touchdown against Green Bay. He originated from the bunch side. So we'll bring it back. Here's Andrews, the point man. He's going to score a touchdown. That's a great throw. But this is a typical concept. Smart by the Ravens, running the backside X, on a shallow or short route. Pull this corner up, make him defend that, and then throw the over concept to Andrews. Classic Greg Roman stuff. Good ball by Huntley. Good ball. Get the end zone angle, you'll see all the space he had to throw it to. Little play action. Nice throw over top of the DB, giving Andrews opportunity to catch it. You can see the design of it. Pull Bateman this way, trying to hold this corner. Really isolate this matchup. And Andrews, if I remember correct, Andrews ate them alive. Boyle being used in the Ricard role. Backside, pass protecting. Hopefully Boyle is completely healthy this year coming up. He could be an asset, but this season, when we had Boyle and Ricard on the field at the same time, that was really, kind of a self-defeating purpose. Another over concept by Andrews. I think he's going to go over and then sit, kind of like mesh a little bit. He's going to sit in the middle of the field. Same concept I just showed you, except this time it's Ricard doing it and going in motion. And the motion's really bad here by Ricard. There's no real intent to this motion. This is really geared down motion. It's not like he's going to get the ball on jet sweep, but he's not running this motion at all to make anyone think he might be running out to the edge. I understand he doesn't want to run into the snap because we have had those things happen before, at least twice that I'm aware of. Cool concept by Lamar. You'll see Lamar's patience. I mean, I don't really need to say much in glowing terms about Lamar Jackson. If you watch this channel enough, you know how highly I think of him. He's got a man in the window between him and Andrews, so he's just going to wait and let Andrews sift it out. Andrews sees it too. Andrews sees it too. He's got eyes on him, and Lamar's able to read that side of the field, bang, when the inside linebacker expands. Cool patience, awareness, savvy. I think Lamar's got it all. We just got to give him time and opportunity to express it. Mesh concept out of bunch. Talked about this before. I'm going to try to move through these. Similar route here by Andrews as the last play. Kind of like that little sit concept in the middle of the field. I call it mesh sit. Other people call it different things. There's Andrews. He's the point man. There's the two shallow drags crossing each other. You know, guy from the right crossing over to the left. Guy from the left crossing over to the right. And then Andrews, you know, hitting in that vacated space in the middle. Not saying that we didn't have good concepts out of the bunch. As I do some of these videos, though, and as I look at the data, and there's other people that have helped aggregate this data. It's not just me. You know, I was the idea person behind it, but other people have taken hold of it and helped me out. As I've gone through the data, you know, I see more tendencies than I thought. If we lined up in bunch A, and I haven't even talked about that yet, you know, A being back on the same side as the bunch, just right here, it was almost always pass to that side. And when it wasn't, I showed you one play that was a power play back here. Latavius Murray got 3 yards against the Chargers. Other than that, that's the only run play that I'm aware of out of A gun. Maybe I just contradicted myself and there was another one that I even showed you in the data set. But A gun out of bunch was almost exclusively a pass concept with the back running out into the flats. Devontae Freeman had like 5 catches against the Bears. Same you see here. Same here. Back is on the same side as the bunch. Against the Bears, Freeman would just slip out into the flats, and we would just basically run shield routes to pick or get in the way of the defender who was assigned to guard him, and it was an easy 5 or 6 yards at minimum. At minimum. This case, the back crosses face. Duvernay beats Patrick Surtain backside on the slant. Nice separation here between Duvernay and a guy who's supposed to be their top corner, or one of their top corners for being a rookie. I mean, you guys, you know, let me know what you think. If you don't think we're predictable, that's fine. But I'm saying to you that the teams, the good defenses, when we line up in certain personnel groupings and then certain formations, they could probably look at it and switch the coverage call fast enough, because it's not like we line up quick and snap the ball. We're slow to the line and slow to snap the ball, if you ask me. For a lot of times, not all the time, but a lot of times. That's something that hopefully has got to change. There's a lot of things that have to change. People that complain about Greg Roman and the offensive staff, well, excuse me. There's a lot of people who only complain about Greg Roman, magically don't complain about the rest of the offensive staff. You should be complaining about all of them. But in any case, regardless of who they complain about, they have you know, logical points. What they're saying makes sense. You know, there's some elements they don't mention, like, you know, getting to the line quicker, taking advantage of coverages like this when teams have been playing, you know, looking at Lamar, reacting to the first thing Lamar does. And you see eyes right here all on Lamar, and Andrews running right by him. Play got called back for a hold on the backside left tackle. Smith, I believe, the guy that used to play for the Bengals years ago. Couple of more plays here out of bunch just to kind of cover this. Maybe I'll cut this and go to my twin slot video next. So I'll cut it up into 2 videos. I'm not sure if people like long content. Short content seems to be where everything is moving. I have trouble with that because I'm long-winded. And I don't think football lends itself to short explanations. I really don't. Maybe I need to get better at figuring out how to do 1 or 2 plays. You got a mesh concept here, and Prochet is going to be open. We've talked about this multiple times on this channel, that Mesh concept was a big concept. I would say yards per play mesh was probably the number 2 concept for the Ravens in terms of yards per concept. Behind, I think, hey, I've said it, I think the RPO was their highest yards per play concept that they ran this year. Consistently gained, I would say at minimum. I was just talking with Tyrod and Frank in a Discord. We're trying to record like a podcast style episode. I think the RPO was 8 yards at minimum. You can't expect Lamar to do all stuff like this all the time, but it sure is fun as hell to watch him do it. It seems like a long time ago. It seems like 2 seasons ago that he was able to do this against a pretty athletic front. And Ngakoue and Max Crosby is on the field on that play, by the way. A couple more plays here, add a bunch, and then kind of just make some conclusions. When you do stuff like this and you get later on in the season, like we are here, it's going to be difficult for you to continue to be effective. Now, in this case, look, this is late in the season, and we hit the same concept that I've showed you multiple times. Over concept by Andrews. It's like, how is this he's the point man. That's his route tree right there. Occasionally he'll do this. He did this against the Lions, one time. It's usually when Andrews is lined up this tight, he's not running out-breaking routes. He's not. Most of the time he's telling you to route based on how tight he is aligned to the right tackle. But magically, man, he just keeps beating people on this stuff. He bullied them here. He bullied the Packers on that route once. Had the touchdown that I showed you. So his route tree must be diverse enough that, it gives people trouble. He's beating this guy man to man. A little push off. But, hey, man, DBs push off too. Offensive players push off sometimes. I'm okay with that level of contact not being called. Refusing to go down. Check X go, a couple of them, and then I think we're going to be out here. This is Bateman backside. You guys let me know what you're seeing, when I show you the data. And the cool thing is there's other people that have access. There's like 16 people who have access to the database now at this point. You got to be a member of my Patreon to have access to the database. And you can watch these plays and sort them and filter them however you wish. And so you can go and say, hey, man, I don't think we're as predictable in bunch as you say. But, 51 pass, 19 runs out of bunch. I whittled it down to 15 plays for this video. Here we are on A-gun again, and you're going to see Freeman release outside. We still targeting Bateman up top. That last play should have been a touchdown, by the way. I think that should have been called a touchdown. This one's not, obviously. He doesn't get nowhere near the end zone, but just a great ball. And, look, there is the opportunity for these one-on-ones backside here. This has to be exploited next year. When you have a guy like this, a Lamar Jackson, who can run the ball. Now I know this is not Lamar in the game, but when you have a Lamar Jackson who can run the ball the way he can, teams kind of have to bring that 10th defender. It's difficult for teams to go like this. Corner with a safety over the top, because now in here we have 10 and they only have 9. So there's a numbers advantage. It's just sheer math when you have a player the caliber of Lamar Jackson. Again, I know he's not on the field, in this situation. He got hurt earlier in the game. To me, we have to go backside. We have to make people respect this. Even if we have possessions where we go up top twice, or maybe we don't go up top, maybe we run the deep comeback, or maybe we run, a stutter, an out and up, or anything, a sluggo, something to go up top. And make people have to devote that safety backside, because I think Bateman can do it. I really do. And the more we target and use Bateman on the backside of trip stuff, the more it's going to open things up for Andrews and Brown to the front side, in my opinion. You see Andrews pretty much running the same route. In this case, Huntley decided to go backside. Look, I think we're utterly predictable based on formation. This is back to the first play. We're utterly predictable based on formation in certain down and distances with particular personnel groupings. Predictable from the standpoint of defenses can use the data against us. 73% pass and 27% run. That's pretty predictable, especially for 2021, where in these plays, at least that I showed you, it's not like we had quarterback run plays called. We were either handing it off or throwing the bubble, like the run to Murray against the Chargers. Or we were handing it off here to Devonta Freeman on a stretch play with really no threat on the backside. It's not like there's really out of the pistol running the boot is difficult to do. You know, Lamar's not holding anybody by booting back here. I'm not saying he's doing anything wrong, but just conceptually, there's no space to go like this and then veer off with your back turned to the defense, with your back turned from like here to here. Your back is all completely turned, and they can't see whether the football has been handed off or not. In this case, everybody and their mother knows, except for one guy right here. And I think the only reason he's being held is because he's reading Ricard, and I'll show you the end zone angle to support that. He's reading Ricard on the backside. And that's what's holding him. It's not Lamar. So I'm talking about this guy right here. He's going to be reading Ricard. In any case, you know, that's my video on bunch formations. I only showed you bunch right. I'm going to come back with a bunch left video in another couple days. I know these formation videos tend to be a little long. You know, maybe I need to be a little more organized with my thoughts to it. I do have another one I'm going to try to put out tonight on a video called on a formation called twin slot. Another element that my buddy Frank has mentioned in the Discord multiple times is coverage. And I do not have the coverages displayed here for all of these plays. I need to go back and input the coverages in. There's got to be some opportunity for videos to be made on what coverages teams are playing against certain formations. Let me know what you guys think of this content, this style video in the comment section. You know, I enjoy anything football related, this Ravens related. We were not diverse enough and did not present balanced formations to people. I think we got in this formation to throw the ball, that formation to run the ball. We got in that formation over there to run the ball on short yardage. And then occasionally we have a couple formations that are balanced that we still did not utilize enough on 1st and 10. That's my spiel about the bunch formation. Love it. Think it's got great concepts and a whole lot more depth to the formation than what the Ravens showed in 2021. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. And again, you know, let me know what you think of the video and the Ravens' predictability and tendencies in the comments section.